Excellent. So we're live.
Hello everyone, happy Friday.
All right, so Fun Facts Friday. This isn't fun for Michelle. I don't know why. It's fun for me. Hello, junior capitalist. And Michelle didn't really know much about this topic before we started, but this is like a buzz. It's a popular topic that during Posh Fest, a lot of people were asking this question. So there's the dog right here. She wants to be a part of it. So cute. So how's it going? What's your name and where are you from?
JR Capitalist.
Yes, junior, right? So we're talking about, again, like the topic is different, business models.
Yeah, so for resellers or those of you who are trying to start a business, this is good info. I don't know anything about this, but Marina is the expert.
How's it going? Nikki? And XOBRTS. Where are you from? The Grom Kai. Let us know where you guys are from. Tell us your name and where you're from. How's it going, my web promos? It's been a while. Happy Friday to you.
So we're going to talk about some technical stuff and let's start.
Yeah. Is this the topic that we said we're going to talk about? I thought we were talking about Halloween stuff. Just kidding. But I don't remember that being the title of the topic. So breaking down different business models. So let's get started. Oh, here's a list. Mm-hmm. So a list is sole proprietorship, partnerships, corporations, and LLC. So that's a list. It's only 4 main categories. And these are like for small businesses, right? And again, during Posh Fest, this was like one of those popular questions that everyone kept asking about. So hopefully we bring some value. Feel free to ask questions. The number one question that people were asking in the chat rooms during Posh Fest was like, how do I officially create a business, or do I have to officially create a business? And it's a good question, right? So we're going to introduce again like the main different businesses for small business owners. And like, should you or should you not do this? Well, we can definitely talk about that as well, right? So the very most popular type of business small business that exists in the United States is called a sole proprietorship.
Okay,
right?
What is a sole proprietorship?
Yeah. So Nikki said, I'm glad you're speaking on this because I'm stuck on that. Yeah, see, that's the reason we're speaking on it is because, again, like on Posh Fest, a ton of people wanted to talk about this. So beyond reselling though, yeah, for sure. The Posh Ruby, how's it going? Happy Friday to you.
Hello.
Yeah, so this is the most popular kind of sole proprietorship, right? So so this one is the easiest to have. Some of the characteristics of owning this kind of a business, we're going to talk about now, and please let us know if you have questions. Yeah. So what is a sole proprietorship? So like basically you don't really need to do anything at all to have a sole proprietorship. It's more of like a tax thing that you're going to have to do when you do taxes. You could say that you have a business, right? But so that's the thing about sole proprietorship is maybe you'll get a license with the city if you're operating in a place like maybe where you have to get a license with the city. So like my sister's a hairdresser. She just started her own business. How's it going, Daniela? Happy Friday. She just started her own business and she started out with the sole proprietorship. One of the reasons is it's cheap. Like you don't have to pay any money again, unless you're required by your city to get a small business license, or you don't even have to have a small business license in many cases. So hello to Celine and Posh Closet. Happy Friday. Questions, a couple questions. So Nikki asks, can you have a business under a business? Yes, you can. Would you mind clarifying what you mean with that? And Daniela said, hey girls, just drinking some tea and lounging around. That sounds like an awesome and fantastic Friday night. Thanks for joining us, Daniela.
So a sole proprietorship means it's owned by a single person, right?
So sole means like only, right? Only, there's only one owner. That's a good clarification. There is a question here. My Web Promos says, I'm in California and I sold something on eBay. Does that include weekends on the one-day handling? Do you know?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, so I think so too. It should include like any day, basically. Okay, good question. If you have reselling questions, also let us know. So basically, this is the most common form of ownership. There's no distinction between personal and business income, right? So this is like on tax records. Now, if you do have a sole proprietorship, you can get a tax ID from the IRS website. Michelle's like, huh? It's called an EIN number. It's free. You don't have to pay anything. But so, it is recommended that you open a separate account. Don't like mix your business and personal funds. Don't ever do that. It's confusing. But on tax, when you pay your taxes, there's really no difference between business and personal income. It's all lumped together. So Nikki says, I want Glow Girl Glow to be the company and my boutique as one of the businesses. Yes. So that's a good question, Nikki. Yes. And we're gonna get into that in a minute, on how you can do that. And you can 100% do that. As a sole proprietorship, you can do that too. You could be the sole proprietorship of Glow Girl Glow. You could be the sole proprietorship of a boutique. You can have like different businesses where you're the only owner. So that can work that way too. How's it going? Kathy is Posh. Happy Friday to you. What are you up to? What are you drinking? What are you eating? I'm working on my coffee still from the morning.
So the thing about sole proprietorship is that the ownership of proprietorship is difficult to transfer. Which means, let's say you own Flippin' Gals and you want to transfer it to me.
Yeah,
that's not possible.
It's really difficult because it's like all your stuff, right? It would be extremely difficult to transfer something like that. And so another thing is, that's it. I think we've really kind of hashed that one out. That would be a negative, right? Another negative of sole proprietorship, though, is that if you get sued by somebody, they're going to sue you. And so, like, let's say you get sued for money. Like, who knows? You might get sued for $20,000. I don't know. And let's say that you have a home. Your home can get taken away if you don't have $20,000 in your bank. So that is the risky nature of only having a sole proprietorship. It's cheap, it's easy, it's fast. But again, there's negatives to it, right? So Daniela has a comment. She said the Department of Business Regulation is the overarching department for each state to locate business and tax info. State employee here. Oh,
Thank
cool.
you, Daniela.
Oh, cool. That's good to know. Thanks for sharing that. We appreciate it. How's it going, Lizette? Lindsay's Loft. And, okay. And Jamel Tyson 9. Happy Friday to you guys.
Okay. All right, let's move on.
Okay, so we're going to move on to a different kind of ownership. So again, there's 4 basic ones. So we did sole proprietorship. So the easy transition is going to be partnership. Partnership is similar, like in structure, to sole proprietorship, but there are 2 kinds. So there's going to be a general partnership and a limited partnership, right? So we're going to discuss each of the 2 kinds there.
So in general partnerships, both owners invest. So partnership is 2 people or more, right? The owners, just 2
people.
Just
That's
2?
why it's called a partnership.
Oh, you can't do 2.
2 people.
You can't do more. Okay, so both owners invest their money, property, labor to the business and are both 100% liable for business debts.
Yeah, so this is an easy type of business to have with another person. It doesn't require a formal agreement. It could be just your own verbal agreement that you have with each other.
Okay.
Equity is limited to the owner's personal resources. So you could see how this is very similar to sole proprietorship, except for like it's going to be you and someone else, but the structure is very similar. There's no distinction between personal and business income. So that's how it's the exact same as sole proprietorship. Ownership of Proprietorship is also difficult to transfer, just like it would be with sole proprietorship. Again, because there's no distinction, right, when it comes to taxes. And go ahead, Michelle.
So shared resources provides more capital for the business. So it's quite obvious in partnership. There's more people, more income.
That would be a benefit,
capital.
Definitely. Yeah. Like if you want to open a business and it's like, man, I only have $500, but if I can have a partner and they can bring in $500, then we have $1,000. So that can be a benefit to having a partnership, definitely.
And each partner shares the total profit of the company.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so you're just sharing everything.
And then it's similar flexibility and simple design of a proprietorship. So it's very similar to sole proprietorship, except there's two people.
Exactly. Each partner is 100% responsible for debts and losses. Mm-hmm. Did you get that, right? Mm-hmm. So each partner is 100% responsible for debts and losses. That means there needs to be some kind of a communication with each other as to how you're going to pay for your debts and your losses in your business. And you guys better be best friends and be very agreeable with each other so that it is a very smooth process. Okay, let's address some of the comments that we have here and do a couple of shout outs. So hello to Eco Exchange. Happy Friday to you. How's it going? Leslie from A Reseller's Passion. Happy Friday to you. She has a comment. It says here, I currently have a sole proprietorship. I'm waiting to apply for my LLC until I move to a new state. Plus, I'm growing quickly. I need it. Yes, that's a great comment. Kathy Esposh said, thanks for sharing the invaluable information, ladies. It is our pleasure. As always, we appreciate you guys and all the feedback you give us. And we appreciate you guys being here. And there's a question from Nikki.
Good question, Nikki. I was just going to answer you with what we have to say. Is it possible for a partner to run off with the business? So when the partner decides to end it, the partnership ends. So I guess running off, if you don't have any written formal agreement, what would that mean?
Yeah, basically, like if your partner doesn't want to be in the business anymore, then you will have to find a new partner. Yeah. In any of these situations, this doesn't have so much protection, to be honest, right? So if your partner runs off with the business and incurs a bunch of debt, you're also, remember, you're 100% responsible for that debt. So you're still going to be responsible. So again, you don't want to, if it's someone you don't have like a really good relationship with and you trust with your life, probably not the best idea to have a partnership, a general partnership, right?
Okay.
So now let's talk about limited partnership. So limited partnership is the other type of partnership, which in this type of partnership, there must be a formal agreement
between the partners.
Yes, and you need to file a certificate with the state. Mm-hmm. And
it allows partners to limit their own liability for business debts according to their portion of ownership or investment.
Exactly. So like, let's say that you have, $800, but you still need a partner to cover $200, then you can be 80% owner and your partner can be 20% owner in the company. And their liability would also be just 20% versus your 80%, right?
Yes, correct.
Michelle, don't worry about the doggies. They're fine. I know she's like really concerned about the dogs. The dogs are dogs. They're going to be okay.
Okay, the next category.
All right, so we're going to move on to the third category, which is corporations. Now, there's two kinds of corporations. There's regular C corporation. Mm-hmm. And I have to the computer's moving, so Michelle's anxious for some reason tonight, and I think it's because she doesn't know. I'm just going to be very transparent. Michelle doesn't really know anything about this. This is like the first time that she is learning, like we're learning together, and she's really freaking out. Like she's so nervous right now.
No, I'm not. I just don't want the doggies to bark.
I just outed her. I'm sorry. But anyway, so let's go to the corporation. So there's two kinds. There's C corporation and S corporation, right? So C corporation is like your basic corporation. You want to help read it? Okay.
So C corporation is, for tax purposes, separate entities are considered a legal person Among other things, the profits generated by a corporation are taxed as the personal income of the company.
Okay, so when you make a corporation, the corporation is a person. You're making another person. So that's where you can see, if you're making another person and that person has a lot of debt, it's not going to affect you personally, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's a corporation. Now it says that the profits generated by the corporation are taxed as, can you stop? I can't, sorry, I just can't focus. So they're taxed as personal income of the company. Yeah. So if there are profits made by the company gets taxed, not you, right? Where you have a sole proprietorship, you're getting taxed.
Okay.
Right? And when you have a partnership, you're getting taxed. There's no difference. But when there's a corporation,
the
corporation gets taxed for profits.
Okay.
If that makes sense, right? So,
so any income distributed to the shareholders as dividends or profits are taxed again as personal income of the owners.
Okay, so then if you get a profit from your business, from the corporation, you're going to get taxed on your personal income. So as you can see, there's double taxation, right? You get taxed by the corporation gets taxed itself on the profit. And if you pay yourself an income, you're going to be taxed, from your personal income, which is like normal. We always get taxed from our personal income anyway, right? Go ahead, Michelle.
So corporations, you can transfer the ownership pretty easily.
That's easy to transfer because it's a corporation. Everything is clean, right? So that's easy to do.
And then for corporations, personal assets cannot be seized to pay any debts, business debts.
So you can see how having a corporation is a protection for you. If you get sued, your company is going to get sued and you're protected. You don't get sued. You don't have to pay anything, right? So, So if there's a credit card company you owe a lot of money to, and they cannot take away your home, they cannot take away your car, as long as you do it under the corporation.
And then the drawback is that corporate operations are usually costly and requires complex paperwork.
Yeah, that is true. So corporations, and as you're going to see, the limited liability company, they're costly. They're not cheap, right? So partnerships are cheap, sole proprietorships are cheap, but the other ones you have to pay some money to open and to maintain. How's it going, Ashley? We totally didn't say hello to you. Thanks for joining us this Friday. Okay. So you want to read the next one?
I already looked at that.
Okay, so that's it. Yeah. So any questions on corporation? Yeah, so income is taxed twice, easy to transfer, serves as a protection. They're a little bit costly, and there's a lot of paperwork involved to open one.
What about S corporation?
Okay, so what does the S stand for in S corporation?
I don't know.
Small business. So if you have a small business, that's what the S stands for, right? So I believe you have to have less than 75 employees to be able to qualify for an S corporation. But the difference between this one and the C corporation is that you're only taxed once. So that's the main difference, right? So incomes and losses are passed from the business, are passed through the shareholders, right? So there's only one level of federal tax to pay, and that is the main difference.
So why would somebody want to be taxed twice and not once?
Well, I think it's just, no, I don't know. That's like a good question for a tax professional, but I think if you have a big company, you cannot do an S corp, but you can do an S corp.
Oh, got it.
If you have if you're a one business owner, right?
Got it. Okay, LLC. That's who we are, right? So LLC provides a lot of business benefits. It's basically, LLC stands for Limited Liability Corporation. And basically, you're protected against lawsuits, debts, and other financial obligation related to the operation of the LLC.
Yeah, so actually, Michelle and I have a limited liability corporation. Company, sorry. Thank you. We do have one for our business. So this does protect you, and I feel like it's not as complicated as a corporation for us. It's very, very simple. It protects you against any legal problems. It limits the liability to the company. So the liability, whatever is owed, comes from the company, not from our personal income, right? The profits of the LLC are shared by the owners. So the profits, we share them, but there's no double, we don't get taxed twice, right? So think of the LLC as half, sole proprietorship, half corporation, or half partnership, half corporation. Here we have Cynthia. Happy Friday.
Hi,
She
Cynthia.
said, I was in a live participation, but I'm here. You made it. Happy
Yay.
Friday. We're doing Fun Facts Friday. They're complicated facts, but they're important.
So LLC ownership is limited by certain state law. What does that mean?
Yeah, so you need to check what, the details of the LLC protections that you are getting depending on your state. So every state will have a different price. For example, in California, to have an LLC, we have to pay about $800 a year just to have one, right? So there you go. Agreements must be comprehensive and complex. Beginning an LLC has high costs due to legal and filing fees. Yeah, there were a couple of fees we had to pay to open our LLC.
But you're protected.
But you are protected, so for us, it's worth doing.
Yeah.
Yes. So Nikki said that sounds better. Yeah, I mean, it's much simpler than a corporation.
California is expensive, Nikki, so you may want to check the fees in Georgia.
Exactly, yeah. Let us know what the fees are in your state if you know what they are. I heard in New York, they're about $600, so I think we must have the most expensive fees in California.
Yeah. And that's it.
And we made it. Michelle, we made it.
Thanks, Marina.
She was so nervous. Here's the thing about me. And I don't mean to come off like a jerk, but I have a really hard time focusing. And if there's stuff going on around me, I cannot focus. And Michelle was really nervous tonight, and that was like making me nervous. So anyway, we made it through. Thank you everyone for hanging in there. We appreciate it. We do have a question from Nikki. She said, can you start as sole proprietor then move to LLC? Yeah, you can start as anything. You can always start as sole proprietor. And then you can always switch to LLC at any time. Yeah. So definitely, yeah, you can switch. Because remember, when you file your taxes, they're going to ask you, if you have a business. And basically, it's like if you make over, I don't know, what is it, like $600 or something, then you have to file a separate schedule. I think it's like Schedule C or something. And then, it's all depending on taxes. So remember, the LLC is going to protect you from debts and lawsuits and things like that. That it doesn't affect your like credit, for example, or your property. You don't want it to be taken away from you. So there is a price to pay for that. The sole proprietorship doesn't really give you any protections, but when you apply for a business license in your city, then you can say, oh, I have a sole proprietorship and give it a name, for example. So I hope that answers some questions. Go ahead, Michelle. You want to read the comment?
You should teach a class. Cynthia said,
I do that. I teach classes.
Why you were nervous? I don't know. I don't know anything about this. So Marina is the teacher here.
No. I mean, it's fine. This is complicated stuff. When I first asked Michelle, hey, let's talk about this topic, she didn't want to. So I'm not surprised she was nervous. It's not it's hard stuff. There's a book. I remember I bought a book many years ago about, I wanted to start a business and I didn't know how to do that. And it was like this thick, but what we said tonight, I hope it simplified the information. Nikki says yes
you
for
have
a class.
Student. You got a student already.
Well, okay.
She's really good at teaching complex info.
Yeah.
To make it simpler. So.
Yeah. I mean, I love this stuff. This is what I absolutely love. How's it going? Atara Grace Boutique. Happy Friday to you.
Okay.
But I wanted to show everyone that it doesn't have to be so difficult. These are the basic characteristics of the 4 main types of small owner businesses to have. And our lawyer, because we have a lawyer, and she suggests, we cannot give advice on this, right? To get an LLC as soon as possible. So that's her suggestion. Before we met her, we already had an LLC. So I learned that from my parents. So my mom said that it's important to have protection from your own assets. And, it's one of those things when you're in business, the lawsuits come. And when my father passed away, my mother got sued by close associates of my father. They had their own business. She was sued right after my dad passed away by his best friend and their business partner. But guess what? My mother won both of the lawsuits, and we were not affected because they had an LLC. So it is, just from experience, it is really important. I've grown up watching things like this happen, and I do not want to hear this happen to anybody that I know. So again, thank you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Oh, we do have a meme.
Thanks for learning with me.
That we want to share this funny meme here. So here's a picture of Michelle's favorite. Michelle, who is that?
Don Draper.
From which show?
Mad Men.
Okay, Michelle's favorite series on TV, if you've never watched, is Mad Men, right? And so he's smiling and drinking his drink, and then he's actually laughing, saying, when people ask when you're free, knowing you own a small business. Yes, it's hilarious because, come on, guys, we work our butts off.
We're never
small
free.
Business. We do have a comment from Cynthia. She said, did you talk about the insurance for reselling? We did not talk about the insurance.
It's a good topic.
That's an excellent topic, and it's a very complicated topic, and maybe that's something we can do at another time. Thank you for introducing that to us.
Thank you,
Cynthia. Have a beautiful, beautiful night, you guys. It's the weekend. Please take some time for yourselves and do something that you enjoy, because you deserve it. And we hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday. Hi, Sarah. I just missed you.
Have
Hope
a great
you're doing
night
well.
and a
Happy
great
birthday
weekend.
again. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday.